Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics That's Non-Classics. This is episode number 484 and Doubleshot number 397. Only 3 episodes away from my 400th Doubleshot. Yeah, 3 episodes away, but after this episode, there's roughly 16 to go before we reach episode 500 this very series, which I'll probably get there probably in a couple weeks. That's my personal guess, anyways. Alright, we got 2 Deadpool trades. First up, it's Deadpool, World's Greatest, Volume 8, Till Death Do Us. Well, this comes from the Book of Common Prayer. The full title is Till Death Do Us Part. I don't really know why they cut off the word part. It just sounds a little odd. Okay, this trade collects Deadpool, Volume 4, issues 28 to 29, the final 2 issues of Deadpool and the Merc's Money. This is the second volume of the series. Issues 9 and 10, and issues 15 and 16 of Spider-Man/Deadpool. Gary Duggan does the Deadpool issues. Yep, Gary Duggan does Deadpool issues. The writing for the Spider-Man Deadpool issues are done by Josh Crowlin, and 9 and 10 of Deadpool and Mercs. That's done by Christopher Hastings, which I believe is the writer of Gwenpool. Yep, it's the same writer for Gwenpool. The artwork for these issues, Scott Kubelich, who normally I think is supposed to be the writer of one of the other books. I think he's supposed to be the regular artist of Deadpool, I'm not really sure. But Scott Kubelich does issues 15 and 16 of Spider-Man Deadpool. The 2 issues of Deadpool in the book are done by Salve Espin. And of course, Scott Kubelich also does the final 2 issues of Deadpool, The Merc's Money. Now, with this very crossover, yes, you get a chance to see Deadpool fight his wife. And with this storyline, basically, she is written out of the Marvel Universe. Yeah, I don't really know why Gary Duggan did this story, but he did. He initially wrote the first and last part of the story. I'm not sure exactly why this story had to happen for, but it did. Spider-Man did play a part in this crossover, but it's a Deadpool crossover. It's the first time he's ever had one. And what did this crossover do in the end? Right, Sakila out of the Marvel Universe for a while, put her on the shelf, and ended the Deadpool Merc's Money title. Yeah, that's really all this crossover did do. It's a good crossover. For Spider-Man Deadpool, that is still continuing this very day, though the storyline is Spider-Man versus Deadpool right now. Deadpool, of course, is currently known as Despicable Deadpool, where he's trying to kill Cable. Yep. But this I think is the second to last trade that will collect issues from Deadpool Volume 4. Because I think the next trade is Secret Empire. Yeah. This one does really just wrap up pretty much. It's a good storyline. Though this storyline was hinted at in Deadpool 2099, so at least Gary Duggan actually set up this storyline, because he sets up basically that Deadpool and his wife fought, and Mons Metropolis was a war. Basically, what he referenced basically was leading to this very crossover, and it just so happens this crossover just happened to happen 3 issues after they wrapped up Deadpool 2099. Yep. Plus also, Blade makes his appearance in this crossover. Yeah, freaking Blade. At this point, I think his last known physical appearance. Yeah. Here's Blade. Yep, Blade. Back, I think is supposed to be his backing is Wesley Snipes look. Yeah, kind of what looks like his Wesley Snipes look. But I think after this crossover, the next appearance that he makes in the Marvel Universe was actually in, I think it was Defenders issue 3. Yeah, I think it was 3rd issue of the current volume of Defenders, but yeah, he shows up for a couple issues of this. Plus, there is one other person who makes his return to this particular storyline. That's not good. Dig my picture of him. Here we go. Dracula making his first appearance in the Deadpool comic book since Deadpool the Gauntlet. As a matter of fact, what happened in that very storyline is referenced in here with Deadpool with Dracula killing Shaquilla's brothers. Yep. This is one really good storyline, and they also reference basically that Jack basically slept with Sakila. Let's see, I don't know how you pronounce her name. Deadpool's daughter Ellie she's referenced in here as well. But the way they the way they wrote her off is that she gets married again, this time to Dracula. Basically, now she has 2 husbands. Well, one of course is Deadpool. Legally, the U.S. recognizes that she's married to Deadpool. Her second marriage is not legally recognized by the world, or at least by the government, because, well, you can't have more than one marriage at the same time. But because it was a marriage done not by a regular priest, but by a demon, it's recognized by Mos Metropolis, basically her having two husbands. Though she married Dracula. Yep, she marries Dracula. Though I should point out, though, like when I saw him here, Dracula does not have the Bela Lugosi look anymore. He used to, back in the 70s. He used to have the Bela Lugosi look, like Bela Lugosi design. But after a while, I would say after a decade or so, they actually have him stop doing that. Then we show up in the 90s. He kind of stopped going that particular look. The look he has in here, as far as the earliest time I've seen him had this thing, he's only had this look for basically, at this point, probably about 6 years. And this crossover only happened just early this year. Yeah, this is actually one of like a few crossovers that happened this year. This one along with, there was also Kissing in a Tree, which was a cross between Spider-Man and that was, of course, Miles Morales Spider-Man and, of course, Spider-Gwen. This is actually a couple mini crossovers they had. Though the only event that happened earlier this year was Monsters Unleashed. So you can kind of say this storyline, well, did kind of, well, end some things for Deadpool. Well, the only thing that did end it for Deadpool was basically him having a wife. He still was legally married, but his wife is no longer featured in the comic book anymore. But I still have to ask. Okay, the storyline is great. It had to happen because it was referenced happening, but why in the world did it end the way it did, where she just marries Dracula, goes in the boat, and is never seen again? As far as I know, this crossover wrapped up roughly, I think it was 8 months ago. Yeah, this crossover wrapped up 8 months ago, and just she has not been seen since then. Of course, Deadpool there was a couple one-shot issues after this one, and then of course we had Secret Empire, now we have Despicable Deadpool. It's just too bad that the Deadpool the Mercs Money series had to go, especially as it was a great series that featured characters that don't get featured very often. Of course, Domino's still very much around, thank God for Weapon X, but as for everybody else, like Gorilla Man, Aaron Stock and Machine Man, Hit Monkey, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, these are the 4 characters. As far as I know, oh yeah, Massacre as well. They just disappeared. I'm not sure what's going to happen to me. I mean, Massacre is supposed to be the Deadpool of Mexico. That's essentially what he is. And he only speaks Spanish. That's really what he is. He just speaks Spanish. But this storyline was actually pretty good. I'm going to get this 9 out of 10. Next up is something I've always wanted to do. There's some mini-series I've always wanted to talk about, but I can never get hands in the tray, but thank God for this particular. Deadpool Classic, Volume 18. Deadpool versus Marvel. And we have various different versus books. We have Deadpool versus X-Force, which contains all 4, which is a 4-issue miniseries. The 2 annuals for, I believe, was the 3rd volume of Deadpool. Deadpool versus Thanos, which I have talked about. Check out the review of the trade for it. You have to look it up. Deadpool versus Carnage, and Hawkeye versus Deadpool. Now, who does these miniseries? Of course, Tim Seeley does Deadpool versus Thanos, with Emil Bobalik as the artist. Dwayne Sorzinski does Deadpool vs. X-Force, which is the 2nd series he's actually done that featured Cable. The last one he did featuring Cable was, I believe it was the 2nd volume of Cable, which started in 2008 and 2010. They ended up as a result of the crossover between the final issue of the series. It ended just prior to Second Coming. And the Deadpool, I'll get to this in a minute, okay? The Deadpool annual, which is by Ben Acker and Ben Bleeker, with artwork by Evan Sinclair. Deadpool vs. Carnage, done by Colin Bunn and artist by Salva Espin. Christopher Hastings does the writing for Deadpool number 2, which that one is a team up with the Superior Spider-Man. Jabako Kamagai does the artwork. Gary Duggan does the writing for Hawkeye vs. Deadpool, which is the only Deadpool miniseries he writes. Out of all Deadpool miniseries, he writes the one with the crossover with Hawkeye. Yep. We have Matt Ledito, who does basically the issues. Pretty much he does all 5 issues, but it starts issue 0 into issue 4, with Jaspo Kalani, basically, who does pretty much issues 0 through 4. The first Deadpool annual is just, well, I should point this out. I have talked about the second in. I talked about that during my review of Spider-Man / Deadpool Volume 0, so check that out there. Who does they team up with this one? Let's see. Let me see here. I think I passed it here. Oh yeah, he teams up with Madcap. Yeah, this is just a story featuring Madcap and a few of the Avengers. Yeah, it's a Madcap story where he pretty much takes on the Avengers. We have appearances annual from Carol Danvers, which is known as Miss Marvel, Juggernaut, Beast, Rogue, Spider-Man, the Lizard, Vision, and Thor. Thor, if you look at him, he's wearing his JMS look. Yeah, J. Michael Straczynski. Here's Carol Danvers when she was known as Miss Marvel. But yeah, it's a really fun little annual. Of course, also Luke Cage and I believe Daredevil shows up in here as well. Yeah, there's Daredevil. Luke Cage shows up here, so it's a really fun little annual. The Deadpool vs. X-Force series feels very much like 90s nostalgia. This miniseries is, according to the editor's note, takes place before Deadpool's first appearance. It takes place before New Mutants number 98. And this is a weird coincidence, the way this miniseries ends is exactly how he first shows up in the Marvel Universe. Yeah, the artist took the time to recreate the classic. I mean, take a look at his last page. This is just a recreation of Rob Liefeld's art style from the early 90s. Yeah, that's actually what this is. This is a recreation of this classic art style, just with a slight change of dialogue, but mostly it's the same set of dialogue, just that's basically what it is. The Deadpool vs. Carnage series. This series is really good. They do reference the Deadpool kills Deadpool miniseries in that particular series. And just here's something really weird about Deadpool and Carnage. They both made their debut the same exact year. Not kidding, they did. They made a debut the same exact year, only just a few months apart, and this was the first time these two had ever met. I'm like, two characters around for a long time, both of whom basically one is a bona fide supervillain, the other one's an anti-hero, and these two never met before the series. Also, Shriek shows up in the series, which is really good. The Hawkeye vs. Deadpool series feels like, even though it's a verse series, it kind of feels like a crossover between Deadpool and Hawkeye. Of course, this is something really weird with this miniseries. This miniseries was coming out when the Hawkeye series was suffering through heavy delays. Not kidding. I guess Marvel decided to release it. Okay, you want Hawkeye so badly? Fine. We'll basically release a series between a couple issues that came out. But yeah, it's a fun little miniseries, and features them taking on the Black Cat. Even Kate Bishop shows up in here as well. The art style for this miniseries is very somewhat similar. It's a similar art style to David Aja's artwork from the Hawkeye series. The one that Matt Fraction did. But yeah, as for when in the Hawkeye series this takes place, I have no idea. Yep. But it also references what happened in Original Sin, where Deadpool found out he had a daughter. Yeah, Hawkeye's like, what? You have a daughter? That's a surprise. Yeah, probably because it was a recent thing. But this is good. I don't much to say about the Deadpool vs. Thanos series in Second Nail because I've already reviewed those already. But yeah, fun mini-series. If you don't want to check out the individual trades that collect these particular series, just buy this. Even though it's $40, it's well worth your money because you're getting several really good mini-series. I give this one 9.5 out of 10 because just good. I do not know when they're going to end this. I have no idea. And this is 18 volumes in. I'm like, okay, they have already collected the entire first volume of the Deadpool series. The first two miniseries, I'm like, okay, are they gonna stop? Nope. We gotta collect the we gotta collect the Deadpool Merc from the Mouth series, Deadpool Team Up. I believe one collects Deadpool Family. It's like now we're just collecting all the miniseries. Excuse me. I do not know why. But if you're wondering why wasn't Deadpool vs. Punisher in there, there's actually a good reason why. It's very recent. Like, I think the last miniseries and it only came out roughly just a couple years ago. I think it was like 3 years ago. Yeah, the Hawkeye versus Deadpool series that came out like a little over 3 years ago, so it's very recent. So it's not exactly like that was the most recent one, but yeah. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is episode 485 and Doubleshot number 300, 400. I think it's 388. Okay, but until then, I will see you there. Bye.